In the city's vibrant, pulsating night, neon lights on loud, masks conceal the truth, and whispers reveal secrets. Crystal balls spin mysteries, fortune tellers weave cosmic tales, and truth is tangled in electric threads. The masquerade unfolds, colors clash and neon hearts guide us through the crowded glow. Fireworks explode in our minds, hidden conflict to be found, and every flash reveals what's underneath. Memories haunt us, light bulbs flicker and shadows linger. The curtain rises, lights ignite the scene, and the stage burns under fiery skies. The show must go on, we'll take the chaos and find our way through every stumble. No mask can hide the fire in our eyes. We're spinning stories under open skies, and when the music fades, we'll still be standing. Curtains draw open, lights ablaze, magic whispers through the night, as masks and dreams converge in spectacular display. Shadows dance, voices enthrall, crystal balls reveal secret signs, threads of fate entwined in tangled lines. The reactor twist unknown, on a stage of stars where dreams unfold. The show must shine bright through chaos and strife, every spark a tale to tell, a symphony of rebellion. Drums beat like hearts of fire, scripts burn with raw desire. Books of untold stories, pages turning brave and bold. Spotlight calls never fading, through leaps of faith and masquerades. We've seen a gamble, each step a leap, dreams awaken where we sleep. Lights dim but hearts ignite, curtains rise to greet the night. Stumble, trip but never fall, the show goes on, we give it all. Raise the roof, shout aloud, through darkness we face the crowd. Dreams collide, we paint the stage with every scar. Each misstep makes us who we are. Script is torn, lines blurred, but every voice will still be heard. No rewind, no second take, we build the magic we won't break. Applause fades, but hearts soar, we'll leave them begging for more. Through every storm, every dawn, the show must go on and on.
I love that intro.
Yeah,
I absolutely
so
love that intro.
cool. Greetings
It's
from
awesome.
South Carolina.
Hi, everybody. I'm here too.
And South New England.
You're getting so good at that. That intro was off the chain great.
Thank you. I'm working hard at making that stuff more palatable for everyone. Yay!
Hopefully,
yeah.
it won't be the best part of the show, but it's up there, I'm sure.
We're off to a good start, that's for sure.
Right on, right on. Well, I want to say hi out there to Geek Culture 101. Good to see you.
Geek Culture, how you doing, bro?
Good to see you, Big Guy, and Kenneth, and Jocko, and oh my gosh, everybody out there, Esmeralda, everybody who I've put up there. Sorry, it's just going really fast right now, and it's hard for me to keep up because my buttons don't want to work right. Because of course, it's like stuck.
So, how was everyone's weekend?
Look,
yeah.
Sorry for the buttons not wanting to respond. Great.
What you mean? Great to see you, Gary. So good to see you, my brother. Again, thank you for joining us yet again this weekend. Esmeralda. Oh, Christopher. How are we doing, Chris?
At the risk of Pons, at the risk of sounding somewhat naughty, I'll have to say my weekend was quite wet
Ah.
and loud.
Thank you for jamming.
But
Loud,
not
Do
as
with
loud
that what you will.
as it sounds.
because of all the rain, right?
Mm.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
We had really bad storms, but they've moved off now, and now it's a nice, beautiful, clear day. It's just a little chilly. And now that we've got weather out of the way,
It was supposed to be cloudy and kind of rainy here on Cape Cod all day, and it was gorgeous here. It was very strange. But we're supposed to get some rain starting tonight. Yeah.
It's been cold here all day today, and yeah, I'm digging it.
You guys don't know cold. It was in the 20s all winter this winter. It was the coldest winter I can remember.
yeah, it got pretty chilly here. It actually didn't get as cold here this year as it did last year.
Although you remember a couple years ago when I had that polar vortex, it was -5 degrees outside.
That's when it was cold.
It was so cold. My microphone was like, it sounded like I was underwater. Because it was like a meat locker in my house. It was so cold. I was afraid the pipes were going to freeze. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Was
well,
that cold here too?
that's crazy. Yeah, okay. So like cold for me here,
Emily, how you doing,
is
bro?
just. I mean, it gets down to freezing sometimes. So there's that.
Down to freezing. My heart bleeds for you.
I know, right? And sometimes it gets humidity from the ocean. So there's that. I get weather.
And so, folks, today's topic is we all have something from the 70s and 80s we miss. If you're like me, it's a bunch of things. So we're going to talk about all the things from the good old days that aren't available in these current suck job days. So, who would like to start tonight? Once I start, I probably won't stop. So, which one of you would like to talk about something that was around when we were kids that we just don't see much of anymore? And for you folks at home, please put yours in the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everybody up too.
Not that I ever used them. Not that I was a big fan of them. But in a Superman nostalgic way, I miss seeing phone booths everywhere.
That's a thing. There was something reassuring, when you were in an unfamiliar area to see a phone booth and say, "Oh, I can just hop on and call somebody." Of course, now we have our phones on us, provided we have service.
Yeah, but so people don't take into account. What if something happens and this thing's not working? How are you going to call somebody?
Right? Hi, Tug.
Tug, what's up?
Hold on a second. I'm trying to get the audio to go through my ears. Hold on.
I thought you were.
That's the best place for your audio to go.
That's a crazy idea.
Places to put audio that would not be comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, something I miss about the 80s for me is because when I was a little kid in the 80s, right? So what I thought, when I was gonna grow up, it was gonna be like Miami Vice, every club I go to, drug busts everywhere. Everybody's gonna just be trying to throw cocaine at my feet, right? It was not anything like that in the 90s, early 2000s at all. So that was kind of a bummer.
Geek culture, I gotta tell you, you're right. The 80s were the last great decade for music. There have been some
decade for everything for me.
There have been some good music here and there in the decades since, but the 80s were the last great decade for music. Not all of it was great, but it was the last great decade for music. And Tug, what do you have? Your toilet cam on now?
I'm making dinner. It's gourmet. Yeah.
Oh, fancy.
Mama's in the kitchen with the mac and cheese.
I think that's Daddy, though.
That's a song, though.
Oh, well, yeah.
My granddad used to sing it when I was a kid.
You can turn that mac and cheese into a delicacy just by adding a can of tuna or a can of chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Rest in peace, Ruth Buzzy. That was a heavy casualty.
Right. took me a while to figure that out too. I have not been using my brain this week. I've needed a break from it. It's been one of those weeks.
I was really sad about Ruth Buzzy dying because I'm actually old enough to remember her being on TV.
Right.
Mr. Tony of the Dead, thank you for joining us. Dan, the breaking news man, great to see you again, my brother. Welcome to the party.
Yes, I'm
or
trying to
ex parte, I should say.
trying to get everybody's comments up and stuff. And Geek is cooking us dinner, everybody. So, that's a lot of food you got to cook there for us, Geek.
I expect this one box of mac and cheese to go all the way around. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One noodle per person.
Yes, exactly. One noodle per.
Right.
It's like the scene in Babe 2 where she gives everyone one jelly bean.
Oh, geez, yeah, magic. Hey, Manny, how you doing?
Okay, speaking of things we remember from when we were kids, who here remembers Ruth Buzzy and Jim Neighbors, Gomer Pyle himself, had a show? One of us already remembers it. Yes, it actually lasted a couple seasons. They played, was it Fo and Fum? They were androids,
the names, but I remember who they were and what they were.
It was called The Lost Saucer. They were androids from the future that had come back on a history gathering mission, and something went awry. And they pick up these two kids from present day and have all these bizarre adventures. And it was a riot. It was funnier than some of the sitcoms that were on at the time. But yeah,
I am so old. I remember it being on Saturday mornings. Probably on the first run. Oh God.
Oh yeah, because remember, you know what? And why don't we open with Saturday morning cartoons? I got to tell you, I really miss Saturday mornings being like the kids' time. But the networks, right before the new season of kids shows would break, they would have like this big special, this extravaganza that you would usually have celebrity guests. And I remember the big one was Sunshine Saturday, right here on NBC. Got it made in the sunshine, got it made in the shade. And they would spotlight all the upcoming shows they were going to have for that season. And I have this weird feeling that no one remembers it.
This seems messed up now, but I remember every Saturday morning here at 12:30, right before Soul Train, it'd be Bill Cosby eating some pudding, going, "Hey, hey, hey." And the Fat Albert Show would be on.
That ran for years. That show ran for years. I remember it. Richard Pryor had his own show for a while too. It was basically the Cosby Show. Only, a Pryor Place. It was sort of like instead of cartoons, it was the Muppets, but it was essentially the same thing. They would have some topical issue, and Richard Pryor would bookend it and give us his advice.
I mean, it wasn't Joker too bad, but it was pretty awful.
It was pretty awful. Superplex, how you doing? But no one else remembers Sunshine Saturday?
No. Look, see, like I said, I was born in 82, right? So, like I said, my view of everything, growing up was like I wanted to be like, like I said, Miami Vice. That was awesome. Neon everything. Anyways, the future is not neon everything. It's really disappointing.
I remember getting home from school and it would be the Cosby Show and Different Strokes right after my parents had watched like an hour of MASH. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd come home to my mom's mom would be, watching all her Oprah talk shows and stuff. So I had to go out and play.
I remember being at this little elementary school in Lawrence, South Carolina. I was 7 years old. This is before we moved up to where we lived, Pelzer, in the upper state area. We were down in Lawrence. And I never will forget it. We'd leave school, me and my brother, at 3:05. And he'd be rushing me all the way. Hurry up. Got to walk fast. We got to get home. Because we had to be home by 3:30. Because that's when Dark Shadows come on.
I have been binge watching Dark Shadows. I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, I love that show.
This was like 72 or something when it was actually on TV, you know?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I remember. Yeah, it didn't end. Was it 71, 72 when it finally ended?
It
But
was
then I
still on when I
remember.
was running from school to see it. So, but they did go into reruns after that for a long time.
Then they brought it back in like I want to say like 76, like 5 years after the show ended. They brought it back, and I remember
That was
it was
House of Dark Shadows.
was
It was a different name. It was House of
oh
Dark Shadows when they
no,
brought
this
it
was
back.
the original series, but they were showing it on late night TV.
Mm.
So I still couldn't watch it. It was on past my bedtime.
They did the movies too, you know. The Dark Shadows movies broke down from the series, reimagined the series in 90 something, I think. And there
Oh
was
yeah, Gary the
a
Banana
sci-fi
Split.
channel, some dismal nightmare.
Trivia question. Trivia question. Who wrote the theme song to the Banana Splits? I'll give you a hint.
Field, okay.
He was a very famous musician. I'll give everybody a guess, and then I'll just tell you. If you don't know, you probably won't get it.
I'm traumatized by the Banana Splits after that last movie I saw.
Barry White. Barry White wrote this. Tra la 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 la.
It's like the opposite of Barry White.
Was that a joke or a reality?
My hand to God. Barry White was like Neil Diamond and Carole King. Early in his career, he was a studio musician. He would like write music for other people. And someone said, we need an up-tempo song for this kid show. And tra la 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 la.
I swear to God, I didn't believe you. I thought that sounded like one of Corey's jokes.
My hand, it does sound like a joke, but no, my hand to God, that's true. It is
You got my head rotating around. That's not cool. I'm a
Sorry.
bobblehead.
This is my first time doing this with a phone, so I'm not used to the interface.
Look, it's okay. Look, I pop your phone, Terry, too. I do it to a lot of people.
My interface, my interface.
That's the reason I'm on the laptop.
Oh, well, Gary's the Skatebirds. Wasn't that Scatman Crothers actually was the voice of the cat in Skatebirds, little known fact. Yeah, I remember the Skatebirds.
I don't know what Skatebirds is. What is that?
I swear to God, when I think of Scatman Crothers, all I can think of is The Shining for some reason.
The Shining. Oh yes, he was in that. I was thinking he was also in
He kicked a can once in a movie. I saw him kick a can once in a movie.
Yeah, that was the Twilight Zone.
Okay, that's it. I'm Scatmaned out.
The Skatebirds. They were sort of like life-size puppets. They were people who dressed up as birds.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait, what?
He was in a movie where he got eaten by giant rats once, too.
Oh, no.
What are the gods?
Deadly Eyes.
Oh.
Canadian movie about giant rats. He was an inspector that got actually ate by the giant rats.
Gotcha. Dan says, and Gene Pitney also wrote for the Banana Splits. I did not know that. Well, it does hurt to be in love.
I wouldn't know.
Uh,
In this town without pity.
I hate to say it, and some people's going to say, "Oh man, that's harsh," but to me, I remember the Banana Split show when I was a kid, and I even remember as a small child looking at that TV and going, "This is the stupidest shit I ever saw in my life."
It was pretty goofy. I'll give you that much.
It did not appeal to me. I was not a Banana Splits fan.
It didn't appeal to you, really?
As a child.
There was this one show when I was a little kid, or actually I was a little bit older than a little kid. But anyways, it was bears chasing bears chasing bears down the stairs or something like that. Then like the bananas were chasing. It's crazy. I don't know. Look, it got me
You
on this
paint a
banana
vivid picture.
Yeah,
Sounds like
thank
you're
you.
talking about some goddamn old Care Bears.
Yeah, no, this wasn't Care Bears either. It was something else. Oh my gosh, this Chance in the
Pod
chat.
Blast. How you doing?
Oh yeah,
Chan.
look at that. He's ironically going on about Star Wars, just like Dan was hoping.
Ah, sheesh. It's May 4th.
Oh, the silver. Oh, wait, hang on.
Oh, sorry, hold on. Let me put it back up. There you go.
The silver 3PO was stolen by the Empire when they got it off the blockade runner. Seeing it had Bespin Cloud City was a sign the Emperor was nearby. Thank you. Yeah, because remember, I pieced it together and I thought that might be the most feasible. So thank you for backing that up, Chance.
Hey, Chance.
This wasn't a chance meeting. You
Yeah,
came here on a purpose.
Oh no.
That's another thing I miss about our generation. You don't have midnight movies anymore. Guess which one I'm going to particularly spotlight? But any of them. I used to love to go to midnight movies. And then, between the violence and the vandalism and the threat of terrorist attacks, they stopped midnight movies. And I'm like,
Well,
details.
I remember being good at school, and then we got to go rent a movie or a game or something, right? Like Blockbuster. Yeah, you can't do that anymore. It's just
I miss rentals.
That was a lot of fun, actually.
But if you live somewhere in the mountains of California, if you live anywhere near a guy named Dr. Wood, Robert T. Wood, you can go to his house next weekend, as he's bought a great big giant outside projector and a big screen, and he's going to start showing movies. And from what I hear, his first feature of Flash Gordon will be very interesting.
I would be afraid to go. Just putting it out there.
San Bernardino or something. The hills of San Bernardino.
Look.
You know what the funny thing was? I remember before there was Blockbuster, when all you had were these mom and pop video rental places. And if you weren't a member, you had to pay like a $50 deposit.
Well, we had like the warehouse. We had what else? There was Suncoast. You could get from there sometimes.
Well, they were sell through.
Hollywood videos. That I was thinking of, but and then Albertsons would have them.
The first video rental place in my town was a pool supply place, and they put up a rack with videotapes and would rent movies as well. It was a little side hustle before people realized how much money there was in it.
It was like 1979 when they opened a big movie place in Williamston near where I lived. You could go over and rent movies, and you could buy VCRs and TVs on time. It was a big thing. They had a little finance company right next door. They had finance. You could go in there and get you a big color TV and a VCR for like $25 a month, and you could rent all the movies you wanted and have all the entertainment you wanted at the little store.
Oh, and Tug, I feel like we're screening your new found footage horror film.
Yes, you are.
Very stoically walking around a house, and I'm like, I keep waiting for like Ghostface to jump out and go,
Come on, we're getting everybody. I want everybody else started watching to know we're getting an exclusive look at Unapologetic Geeks House.
Yeah, especially my ceiling. Yeah,
his movies, cool kitchen, his incredible cooking abilities.
This is where all the magic happens. Is in his kitchen here. Because
nice
first his tummy needs to be taken care of.
I was able to make Kraft mac and cheese with one hand, and that was something.
I was going to ask what the other hand was doing, but never mind.
I was holding the phone.
Oh, that's what she said.
Wait, hold the phone.
Yes, hold the phone.
Hold the phone.
Now who's holding the phone? Magic?
Now
I got it on my desk.
Since we're talking nostalgia, something else I missed that I know Tug and Thrash will appreciate. I miss from the 80s mostly, I miss good freaking movies because apparently they don't make too many of them no more. Do you remember good movies like the John Carpenter's The Thing? Do you
Oh,
remember that when they made good movies with great practical special effects and not CGI garbage?
I
I
remember
remember.
Bloodsport. I wanted to watch that all the time, so I had to stink watch that all the time.
Oh,
and
movies
not
have
just
got
horror
so.
films. Although in the '80s were the high watermark for horror films, but not just horror. Like I was on a another channel the other day, and they were talking about Beverly Hills Cop, and Beverly Hills Cop is such a fun, entertaining movie. And they just don't make them like that anymore. They couldn't make them like that. It's either too politically
Compared to the
incorrect or
movies they make today, Beverly Hills Cop is a freaking work of art. I'm
it
Yeah, they
is.
can't make a movie like that anymore
serious,
for a
man.
number
Movies
of reasons.
today are horrible.
And you
I'm not
know,
disagreeing with you.
and you
Who's
know, I
disagreeing
found
with
out
you?
Even the good ones are bad.
that movie wasn't even written for Eddie Murphy. He just wanted to do it, and they said, you know what, that could work, and it did. You know, he needed a movie vehicle, and it worked for him.
And you almost got a part in Star Trek 4 because of it.
Really?
Jeez.
Yeah.
That I did not
That,
know.
that would have been not so wonderful.
Yeah, he was gonna play a Berkeley professor who was
that,
like into conspiracy theories and stuff, and they wound up like mixing his character with the like whale person, and that turned into the yeah.
the will.
Having Eddie Murphy be the romantic interest of William Shatner.
Hey, why not?
It would be a twist. I'll give him that much. It'd be
Well,
the
look.
second interracial kiss, among other first.
I'd pay to see it.
Well, look, we all would pay to see it. That's
Oh, I
not
think
the
we'll talk
point.
about that.
But no, he turned it down because he'd said he'd wanted to be in Star Trek, but he actually like wanted to be in Star Trek. He didn't want to be in the modern day as a Berkeley professor. He wanted to be on the Enterprise. You know, it just wasn't that kind of movie. So
Well, yeah. I mean, also they blew it up, but did he not read the script? Hey, I want to be on the ship that's blown up. Ah, now's the wrong time. Hey, Snarky, welcome in.
If I was gonna put
Snarky.
Eddie Murphy, if I was going to put Eddie Murphy in Star Trek, I'd have put him on the medical staff and had him doing stupid stuff like giving freaky giant blob aliens enemas and stuff.
And you could see like McCoy
Gross.
being all exasperated with him. Yeah.
No, just yeah, no. That
It
would
would have
just
been
be
so gross.
no. That would just
I bet Eddie Murphy would have never asked to be in another Star Trek movie again. When I got
Have you ever seen Colin Ferguson, who's actually a Scot, do his impression of Scotty? He's like, he's the only person on the show we couldn't understand. Where did he get his Scottish accent? Mercy.
I don't know, but you was on a show with a couple of people that had a Scottish accent. Seemed to be pretty harsh too. I was like, "What he say? What he say?"
Some
I didn't see
Scottish
that
shows,
headquarters.
they have to put subtitles on. That's like some parts of Scotland where, like, literally, it's like a different dialect. Exterminate.
No, not a dead.
I know all about Scotland. Oh, jeez. I'm not even going to go there.
Good.
But sometimes I wake up in terror to the sound of groundskeeper Willie's voice.
You want to get sued?
Shitting. Do you mean the
Shitting.
no? Come down. I hope that carpet is Scotch guarded. I lost my spirit the first time I saw that. It was like,
Oh,
I missed like the next 3 jokes. I was like laughing so hard. Mercy.
Mhm.
So where were we?
We were talking about something.
We were talking.
It's not only movies that were better in the
And I
80s,
should
it's
say I
really-
miss stuff like candy cigarettes and all the really cool candies we had as a child, but they give me diabetes and kind of mess me up. So I don't really, I miss them, but I don't.
and sugar-free candies just it does terrible things too. So
Yeah.
Right.
I miss some of the drinks. Like, who else used to love Five Alive? I drink Five Alive by the pitcher, and I remember out of the friggin' blue, I just stopped. I went on with my life. I went to college. We didn't. And one day, this is years ago, I decided, I go, I haven't had Five Alive in a while. I'm going to stop by and get some, and they don't make it anymore. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I was a '90s kid. I was drinking Surge.
I have never had no Five Alive. My grandparents wouldn't let us drink stuff from the dime store.
Dude, I remember I save up money sometimes for the ice cream truck when it would come down our our cul-de-sac, right? But so back in the mid 90s, there was this craze, of course, to be disgusting and gross. Anyway, so of course I had to jump into that mix. Of course, there was these big plastic noses, right? And the product was snot. It was like edible snot. Yeah, I had a lot of edible snot. I was gross. I was a gross kid, everybody. I was gross.
But snot is already edible, isn't it?
Look, this one said I could eat it.
That shit to me on purpose, man, because they know I got something going. It's like, okay, hold it, don't throw up. One day,
my mother watches this show, guys.
No, one day y'all gonna bring up some I'm gonna spew all off to the side and ruin the video.
Look, it was candy, okay. Anyways, but during that time they had bubble gum that was shaped like McDonald's fries, and
I remember those. Yeah,
and I remember when Big League Chew was right, and you go out there and watching your brother or whatever play all the ball sports. Anyways, and you get your wad of that in there, and you're like, I'm not gonna die on this. I swear, I gotta chew this. It was awesome. Yeah, I miss those days.
Yeah, I want to say Thrash is not only alive, he managed to make it all the way through my show today without freezing once. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
we'll see how long that continues.
Record,
by the way, it won't be until next month, but for all you people out there who have heard me talk about Bermuda Depths ad nauseum under classic sci-fi, under the works of Burl Ives, under the best made-for-TV movies of all time, Kevin wants to do a deep dive on Bermuda Depths, and we're going to be doing it sometime next month. I will keep you posted, but for all you people who aren't sick of me talking about Bermuda Depths, we're going to be
real quick. Is Bermuda Depths one of them? Is the octopus one?
No, Bermuda Depths is it's the giant sea turtle, which is actually the devil incarnate.
God,
Connie Selica plays a 19th century girl who sold her soul to the devil, and yada yada blah blah blah.
Yeah, I know that movie too. Yeah.
Amazing cast. Carl Weathers in it.
Sure you don't want to do the one about the big octopus?
That's the Beast, and it's a giant squid.
That might have to be a Thursday topic.
Based on a Peter Benchley novel. Peter Benchley novel.
I knew what you meant. I didn't have the heart to correct you, but yes.
I'll read that book too.
Yeah, it's good.
Remember the name of it, but it's about a big octopus that eats people.
Squid.
I thought it was an octopus.
Take my word for it. It's squid.
Calamari.
The movie had that woman I can't stand in it.
You need to give us more to go on.
Yeah, you got to be more specific, man.
That could be any of your ex-wives. Ooh.
You reminded me of one of them, though.
It's one of your ex-wives.
Her little ugly kid Billy got ate by the big octopus thing.
If I remember correctly, the really cute redheaded girl from Powder is in it too, by the way.
What?
I haven't seen that movie in 25 years, so it's kind of hard to recall certain parts of it.
Powder or the Beast? Either.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Powder was filmed not too far from where I was in Orlando.
That was yeah.
Oh, really?
But also Powder, the guy who made Powder, same guy who made Jeepers Creepers. The less said about that guy, the better.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were talking about cocaine again.
No.
Okay.
I wish it was just cocaine.
That would not make sense. Wait, what? I
Nothing
enjoy
makes
the lyrics.
sense.
Who? Nothing makes sense.
Listen,
You know,
I
like,
miss
Tyler
it when
might be
things
the
made
only,
sense.
only person that can talk about more Peller than me right now. So.
I'll tell you what I miss from the 80s, and that is 80s music. Like, I hate to be that guy, but modern music doesn't even hold a candle to 80s music. 80s, and even like the early 90s alternative stuff, I was really into that. But like after that, it's just, I don't know, man. It got
Yeah,
bad.
alternative nation was great, but the 80s was the last decade.
Yeah. The
of
whole
great
80s
music.
was
It
the
really
last
was. It
decade.
really
Correct.
was.
Yeah, I was so lucky to have lived my young life during the 80s.
I was listening to, Duran Duran and Depeche Mode and Metallica, like the 80s, man.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
I was 20
Uh,
years old in 1985,
I
so
I was listening to Two Live Crew. I was listening to all that good stuff, man.
I remember Two Live Crew.
Jane, what year were you born again?
me, I was born in 1965.
Because I was born in 67. I thought you and I were born the same year. Apparently, you're like a couple years older than I am.
Yeah, I'll be 60 years old in November.
I'll be 58 in August.
Yeah.
So we
Wow.
are 2 years apart.
Oh boy,
I'm gonna
I'll be
be-
60.
I'll be 43 this May. Woo!
So
It is
you're
May.
42.
Yeah.
Potato.
Uh
The
huh.
answer to the left.
You're not
I
going
wish-
to like it.
And I'm sitting here wishing I was 40 anything.
Right? Well, anyways, I'm gonna enjoy my youth while I still have it. Lucky me.
That's what's wrong with my poor old body now. Is I enjoy my youth a little too much.
Right?
Coach, I had the song from
Nice.
Sound of Music in my head. You are 41 going on 42. It
Yeah.
doesn't work. Once you get into the 40s, it doesn't really work, but
Yeah,
God knows I
are
tried.
older, get even older. No, I remembered.
Just remember,
Yeah, it becomes depressing. Actually.
I think it was my older brother used to say he spent the 70s and the 80s and the 90s worrying about an asteroid or something hitting the Earth and destroying it. He spent the years after 2000 hoping for the asteroid to hit the Earth and destroy it.
Well, that was the old joke I saw on Facebook not too long ago. It was like, at this
Wow.
point, alien abduction sounds like a rescue mission.
Well,
Yeah.
I wish your name's Tim, and then
Pretty
it turns
much
into
what
a
it
bad experience with your ass.
Mercy. I remember the last thing my father said to me. Get out. Where did I steal that from? I stole that from somewhere.
Yeah. Probably
Got
Corey.
me. No.
Chance knows. Watch. Chance is going to answer it. Chance. It's one of his favorite movies. I'll give you a hint. Superman's in it.
Superman?
Yes. Wow.
Oh.
As I was
Superman
saying
the
that,
movie.
yes.
Yeah.
It's Lex says it's the last thing my father said to me, and the woman who I had. Doug, you just told me this great piece of trivia about her. She was in something else actually, and I never put two and two together. But
Who are we talking about?
Miss Tessmacher from Superman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lex says last thing my dad said to me. Miss Tessmacher goes, "Get out,"
Right.
and he goes, "Before that." But Miss Tessmacher was in something else, and it was like, oh my god, and she was also in that movie you were talking about, the black and white cult movie.
Yeah, she's in that. The Nothing Lasts Forever.
Forever. Yeah.
Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
I'll get there. I'm looking it up. Because it's going to bother me if I don't.
And I'm terribly sorry. I totally painted you into a corner, Tug. I'm very sorry. I do that a lot lately. I'll like, do you remember when? And then I'll forget exactly what it was I was remembering. I'm like, you know.
Valerie Perrine, and she was also in Slaughterhouse 5. Yeah.
Yes, she plays the adult film star in Slaughterhouse.
Correct.
Wow.
Still alive.
You see a lot of her in that movie.
Only here when we
Hey,
come into we're talking about them movies and roll into Slaughterhouse 5.
So
All
when you
over
see
the
a lot
place.
of her, what do you mean by that exactly? A lot of her?
She plays an
she
adult
spends
film
a lot
star.
Of time not wearing
No, I mean like a lot of
clothes.
her. What do you mean like a lot of her?
You see her rack.
The aliens abduct her, and she's only wearing panties. So
No,
and has no compunction about it too. By the way,
no,
she doesn't
Doug,
care.
no chance.
I have to tell you,
want more people to
Slaughterhouse
know.
5. Slaughterhouse 5 was on my reading bucket list since I was in high school. Thanks to your review of it, I went out and I finally read the damn book.
Oh, good. It's your kind of book, man.
Finally, and that's what everyone said. They go, I can't believe you haven't read Slaughterhouse 5. And I go, I mean to, I meant to, I meant to, I mean to. And after I saw your review of it, I go, that's it. I'm reading it.
Chance.
It was good. You know, he had a house actually the next town over from me here on Cape Cod. In fact, he used to sell in his spare time. He had a side hustle. He sold cars at a local dealership.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yes. He was considered a local character figure. One of my best friends in high school was like, you know how I am with Brian Aldous? He was that way with Kurt Vonnegut Jr.
You did better than us.
I got to go meet him down the street. I got a van to get.
Yeah,
that was
we
best
got a
English.
local figure like that around here, but he's not all famous like yours. We got Ernest T. Worrell. You know, he's our local guy.
Isn't he dead?
Yeah.
Well, he was our local guy, man. You know, he worked at our local TV station, got famous around here, was opening car lots and opening restaurants and always a personal appearance.
Yeah, I come from Orlando. Our famous people are boy bands. So
yeah, that's something you shouldn't say out loud. Yeah.
I mean, I knew a lot of them. I knew NSYNC.
That's telling people about
explains so much about you.
Yeah. I wasn't friends with them.
Oh, okay, sure.
La-di-da.
Yeah, right. We all weren't friends with them, I swear. Okay.
I once hit on Alyssa Milano. That's or at least she claimed to be Alyssa Milano. It was good enough for me. Either way, I got absolutely nowhere. So either way. But that's another story. Johnny. How you doing, Johnny?
Hey, K Moonin.
Good to see everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like the comments are going fast, and I'm trying to put everybody up.
Yeah, well, it all
You're actually doing very good.
Lou Pearlman, and I met the guy, and I can tell you he's as sleazy and slimy as you think he is. He's the guy who like did all the boy bands in the 90s in Orlando.
I bet he did.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You're not wrong.
If you watch the news.
Well, anyways, that's why I don't watch the news.
Yeah. You do yourself a favor.
Don't watch the news, never once. Although I watched the news the other day, the high-speed chase did not end well.
They never do.
No. Anyway, the dump truck had no damage though.
Have you any idea how much that bulldozer would suffer if I just let it roll straight over you? How much? None at all.
Absolutely none at all.
None at all.
I am Chance. I'm using it. I have all the powers. I have the buttons. Doing my best, Chance. I'm sorry.
And a fine job you're doing.
Yes, I recommend not watching the news. Yeah, it's bad for your health.
Yes.
What isn't?
Well, I know a few other things that are good for the health.
But yeah, Mrs. Thrash is taken to watch the news, and that's how I get my news because she passes it on to me. Have you heard this? Have you heard this? Like I was trying not to. You know?
I don't want to hear it.
I get all my news in meme form, so if I'm not memeing it, I don't know about it. Terrible.
What's next, Flash, on our missed things from the past?
Record stores. I miss music stores.
I used to go to Peaches down the road. Yeah.
Or Tower Music or Record Town. One of the things I always had to hit when I went to the mall. I mean, the malls themselves are hanging by a thread. But I mean, for like 70s and 80s kids, you remember that was the big thing. Can I go to the mall this weekend? Go to the mall this weekend. You got to hang out with your friends.
You just go there to do nothing. Yeah.
But you
you weren't doing nothing. You were walking around, going through stores, shopping, seeing what the latest records out was. You had reasons to be at the mall. That's where the theater was when we were young.
It was. We used to go see movies there. We would check out records. We would try to find promiscuous girls from other towns.
Oh, actually, sometimes certain movie theaters was the only places you could find certain arcade games. You'd go to that theater, no matter what
Yes.
it was, just so you could play that game in that theater.
Well, some malls were indoor malls, some were outdoor malls in this area out here. So, certain malls had certain features, right? Some of the outdoor malls had like bowling alleys, right? So you'd go to those instead of like the movies, right? Oh, just out
Mm.
here, stuff like that. And
Once
then,
again, though, I'm kind of older, and it was like when theaters first started getting that little arcade section in the lobby. And I remember when the bell the something with a B, like the Bellin or the Bellevue Theater, and it got this Pac-Man machine, and we'd never seen it. People would stand in line before the movie to play Pac-Man for a few minutes. It was that popular, and it was the only place around that had it at the time.
There was a time in the early 80s where arcade games beat out movies themselves. Americans
oh
were
yeah,
spending more money in like Space Invaders than they were going to the movies. In fact, Danny, thank you. I'm surprised it has taken us almost an hour to mention the arcade. I mean, in the 80s, the arcades, they were like our casinos. They were like our cathedrals. I mean, they were it. There was one in Hyannis, which is the Cape Cod Mall's in Hyannis, but across the street there was a little plaza, and it had the arcade. So we would actually walk across to go to the arcade before the movie, and then go back to see the movie.
Yeah.
And then they opened up one in Yarmouth, and what they did was literally it was on a miniature golf course. They took a prefab shed. It wasn't winterized or anything. It was a prefab shed. They ran power cables into it and put arcade games in it. And I can't remember what it was called, but when it opened, it was like that was the biggest news in my town. Yarmouth has his own arcade. We don't have to go to the next town to an arcade. Oh, take care, Chance. Good to see
Enjoy your movie. Let me know how it is.
It had, when I was young, it
Yeah.
had an arcade, but the arcade was crappy. It had pinball machines, and it had
Rachel.
this stupid little game where you take that ball and roll it down an alley and try to get it through them hoops. It had
Oh, yeah,
stuff like that.
skee
It
ball.
You're talking about skee ball? Yeah, that's still a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 79 or 80 before we started getting video games in arcades around here.
Like out here in like Temecula growing up, there wasn't really a lot to do. One of the movie theaters back in the day, had a few, arcade games in there here and there. A few restaurants had a few arcade games. There was like a pizza place that had some arcade games, but there was never really any big arcade type places out here, right? And then when we were gonna get one, they fought tooth and nail for it to never open, and it was terrible.
My
terrible.
grandmother, her friends, and whatnot. There was a group in Yarmouth who wanted to not open the arcade. They said it will corrupt the youth. It will, they'll start buying drugs there. They'll
We were in there.
bad movies.
We were in the arcade at 13 years old, rolling up our sleeves, smoking Marlboro cigarettes, and playing a quarter to shoot a game of pool. We were already pretty corrupt.
Yeah, I'm in Temecula, California, so yeah, we had a roller rink out here at one point too, and that's where they had the Star Trek TNG pinball there, and that if I wasn't skating, then I was playing that Star Trek pinball because heck yeah, of course I was Star Trek pinball. Anyways, and I love that stuff, but that thing went away, and I mean. We didn't really have like all the traditional stuff I ever saw, like growing up, right? I mean, I didn't even have lockers in school, so there you go. I mean, none of that stuff.
I
They
never
didn't have
will.
lockers?
I never will
No.
forget going to the BW arcade, and that's when they first started getting the video game machines like Defender and stuff in, the really cool ones, and it was for kids, right? But right there when you walk in the door was a great big giant cigarette machine. And anybody could buy a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, you just pull the knob. Yeah.
It's funny. I actually was driving. I don't get to this part of town much anymore, but I had to go across town today. I drove by. It's still there. it was the new health club in my hometown, and I joined it when I was in high school because I was something of a jock at that time. I know, believe it or not. I know, I don't believe it in it either, but yeah.
I can just see Pons just like, I'm a jock. I
played football, and I needed to weight train in the off season, so I joined this health club so I could, keep on training. And I'm going back 40 plus years, like 42 years. That when it first opened, this health club in the downstairs lobby, it had a cigarette machine, and I go, that's the 80s. The health clubs had cigarette machines in them. That was the 80s.
We didn't go to the fancy health clubs. We went to the local gym and worked out after school.
That's funny because I just thought of like SNL, like when they had the little chocolate donuts, right? And he's like smoking a cigarette. And that just popped in my head right now. Like,
when he was the Olympic track star. And
yeah. He's like smoking and stuff, and I don't know, that just popped in my head. Yeah. Anyways, when SNL was good, I missed that too. I mean, I was before I was born.
I'm old enough to remember when the Flintstones Marlboros commercials were on TV.
It's still a sore spot with me, Danny.
Hey, look,
Steve.
See, all they did to me was tell me to buy vitamins, right? 10 million strong and growing. Y'all put the cigarettes and stuff. Terrible influence you guys all had. Anyway, so my candy cigarettes didn't have the Flintstones on it though. Oh, you know what I used to use? Tinker Toys. I used to use those as like cigarettes for when I was playing them.
Tinker Toys?
Uh-huh.
The metal girders?
No.
She just likes having wood in her mouth. Oh God!
You couldn't let that one slide. I get
it. Them, but I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, still.
Look. Yeah, Steve. I used to have the candy cigarettes all the time, and they tasted like chalk. They tasted like they were nasty, but they were cigarettes, man.
I built many of things with Tinker Toys, and I have never once felt the urge to stick none of that crap in my mouth.
I used to put marbles in my mouth too, and I'm still that crazy.
Okay, Danny.
Wait till Thursday to
lay it on the ground beside them two marbles and shove all it.
Anyways,
you had to know that was coming, Sarah. Come on.
I would never have walked right into that on purpose. I would not.
There goes the G rating.
Look, it wasn't me who brought it up, so I'm fine.
You're the one that brings it up every time. You and your talking always got to bring up a good piece of wood.
But I'm bump.
That's what she said. Anyways.
I had a flashback to the old joke my grandfather told me years ago. Kid goes in to see his priest. He's like, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I threw peanuts in the lake." And the priest goes, "Not much of a sin. Say a couple Hail Marys and go out and play." And then the next kid does the same thing, and the next kid does the same. And the next kid, and then after like a half a dozen kids, this other kid walks in, and the priest goes, don't tell me you threw peanuts in the lake." And the kid said, "Hell no, Father, I'm peanuts."
Oh.
I
heard that one before. It's a good one.
That's
little like bait and switch in that joke there.
And it's very like light and tame and family friendly. I was expecting something a little bit raunchier.
Yeah.
For me, never. Heaven forfend.
Anyways, I would never encourage naughtiness. Would not. We'll never do that here, people. Every Thursday.
That's when you don't do it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the day. Make sure you don't come here to do that. Make sure you do, though. And we're having a special show. What?
And Mickey did not die from eating them. That is an urban legend.
That's what she said.
In fact, it is. I believe MythBusters did it. No matter how much Pop Rocks and Pepsi you force down, it won't kill you. But you'll throw up. But
it won't feel good.
Yeah, but it can't blow holes in your stomach. You know.
Gross.
You'd have to have some like crazy underlying condition, like a giant ulcer already or something.
Although, and I feel hideous telling this, but if you feed a seagull Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer. Okay, yeah, we used to do that all
That
the time.
really works.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, it does.
I told you I was a delinquent and I hung out with delinquents, right?
I think everybody's doing that these days.
Uh-oh. Geek, you're gonna have to do lots of atoning. I'll get you that atone list later. It'll be great.
Okay, fine, sure.
I'll go into more atoning with you, dear.
You could write your Norwell while watching it, okay? It'd be great. Okay?
I feel like being on your show every week is penance enough.
Well, it's Snarky's and I show, so yeah, maybe.
That's true. You and
maybe.
Snarky, yes.
Yeah. I mean, we are a dynamic duo.
And you're staying together for the kids. That's us, by the way.
Yes.
Oh,
of course.
yes.
Not Danny or your children.
There you go. That's what
You're not allowed
happening.
to divorce. Yeah.
No.
Right, yeah. I tried to get money out of her afterwards. I was like, hey man, you owe me like $2 billion or something. She's like, well, you can't ever collect that because you never were married to begin with, so we couldn't get a divorce. I was like, so no monies. Anyways. But that's okay.
Tell it to Sandra Locke. You got buku bucks and they were never married.
Right. Well,
John
maybe.
mentioned it earlier, John Orchard, bookstores and malls. I do miss that. The only bookstore that's still around is Barnes & Noble, and it's not the same.
I know, that's so funny. I keep forgetting that that's even a place. I go, oh, that's still a place. That's funny. I drive by it sometimes, and I go, oh, look at that's still a place.
Actually, I'm lucky where I live. We've got like 2 or 3 different really cool, great bookstores.
I mean, like if you go to certain places like Asheville up in North Carolina, they've got some good stuff there. There's some great bookstores there. But like around here, there's nothing. It's just Barnes & Noble, and that's it. And the only reason I'm going to walk into a Barnes & Noble is to go look at the Criterion Collection DVDs in the back.
And they don't have a lot of vintage
really
books
great
anymore.
Bookstore called
What
Mr.
was in
D.
the back?
You can take all your books into Mr. D's, and they'll give you so much for your big pile of books, and you can either buy books or get cash or get trade for other books. And they have a really great selection. You can find a lot of books a lot cheaper than you can anywhere else.
Yeah.
So
Tracy Mrs. Borders, but
they
Canada
have a
doesn't.
great volume overturn there.
Right. Anyway,
Where's the man when I need him? Yeah, it's funny. I went into the last time I was in a bookstore. I'm gonna check out what they have for like vintage sci-fi. No Asimov.
What? I mean, that's incomplete, obviously.
The only vintage, and this is a little beyond vintage, but the only classic science fiction they had some, not a lot. They had some by H.G. Wells. But how do you have a science fiction section and not have anything by Asimov? Now, granted, we all know the first thing I look for is Aldous because I'm a nutcase. But but still, no Asimov. This is not a science fiction section.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, what was it the geek kid did in The Simpsons? The ABCs of science fiction: Asimov, Bova, Clark, and then he's like, "What about Bradbury?" I am aware of his work.
In this modern age we live in, if you really got to have something, you got to go on Amazon to find it. Or if it's really out of print and hard to find, you got to go on eBay to look for it. If you can find it, you'll probably find it on one of them 2 places.
There is other used bookstores that like specialize in finding first editions. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I will get back to you with that because there is a website that you can go to that you have all kinds of stuff you're not going to find either on Amazon or eBay. So
the problem with that is
eBay's pretty good.
Problem with that is it's so expensive.
It is expensive though, yeah.
But
I just can't remember the name of it.
Amazon is great. I was looking for a piranha, and the best place to find a piranha
is in the Amazon. Yes.
That's one of my dad jokes. That's
yeah, and people keep talking about colonizing the moon. They've already got women on the moon for Amazon. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Of course, there was a saying when my mother was in the movement, shall we say, it was if you can send a man to the moon, why not all of them?
That's actually kind of funny.
Hi, Tim. Welcome in.
Mercy.
And so yeah, well, okay, what are we talking about? Oh, bookstores, right? And I was
Yes.
still like convinced that I get Barnes and Nobles Brown. It's hilarious. Yeah. Anyways, bookstores.
Yeah. By the way, Sarah, just out of
Hilarious.
curiosity, you ever been in a bookstore?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yes, I have.
I'm just
Anyways,
I'm
back
just
in the
kidding.
day.
Comic book stores aren't the same thing.
Oh, I was just going to talk about Legends, but all right, fine. It's
Okay,
not.
okay, let me rephrase that. Have you ever been in a bookstore that didn't sell just comic books?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Also, there's a story about me getting kicked out of an adult one in Utah. Okay, so we don't need to bring that up today.
How did you get kicked out of an
I
adult
was
bookstore?
hoping-
Well, I mean, I have a pretty good idea, but how did you get kicked out
I'm
of
more
an adult
confused
bookstore?
about the existence of an adult bookstore in Utah.
Yeah,
They really put
Listen,
their lids,
guys.
didn't they?
Anyways, listen, I don't think that's just an appropriate Sunday topic here, guys.
You brought it up.
And let me get this straight, y'all. It's an adult bookstore in Utah. She's talking about arts and crafts.
No, no. Anyway, it was right there on Temple Square, right there by the mall, all that stuff. Like, yeah, no, it was. Anyways, we don't need to just. That's a Thursday topic.
What you
That's
buy?
Thursday.
What you buy? What you buy in there? Butter churns with padded leather seats.
No,
Churn
no,
that butter.
no,
Mm.
look,
That butter, baby.
no. Look, look,
Mercy.
no.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of lost it a little. Give me a minute.
Look. Anyways, look, it's not me.
Okay. Some old Amish guy walks in and goes, "I need to find some leather chains for the wife."
There was no Amish there.
That sounds like the opening of a really, really, really cool dirty joke.
Right, but it just is just yeah. But then it goes instead of that, it's just and Sarah said, and everyone, oh no, never mind.
So a Quaker, an Amish guy, and a member of the LDS are on a train.
No, and Sarah's there.
Insert
So all the
your
jokes
preferred
happened, and it
punchline
was
here.
bad.
You know?
I'm going. Listen, guys, quit trying to get me to blast me on Sabbath. That'll be on Thursday's show.
It's Sunday. It's not the Shabbat, so meh. I can do whatever I want.
Whatever. Look,
Hi, Mrs. Thrash. Everybody say hi to Mrs. Thrash.
Hi, Mrs. Thrash.
Over at the adult bookstore in Utah, they got them really cool pictures where the women actually show their knees.
You guys want to see my knees?
Doing what?
Oh my goodness! Holy!
Yeah, you guys want to see my knees? But that's crazy. Nobody says no. That's weird. I find that weird.
Hey, to give credit where credit's due, Utah is where the Skinwalker Ranch is. So,
right?
got some paranormal stuff going on.
Yeah,
and the Big Salt Lake. I don't know why I brought that up, but it's really cool.
Dude, Salt Lake City Punks is a great movie. It's one of my favorites.
What movie?
Salt Lake City Punks. Did you ever see that?
Oh, SLC Punk. Yeah. It's a great movie. Yeah.
It's a great movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Definitely my favorites. Yeah. So this Thursday, it's going to be Ask Us Anything on panel, right? So
I know what I'm asking you.
Yeah, and then asking us and everybody else it's going to ask us to ask. There you go. So Thursday, everyone, make sure you're there for that. And then
Couldn't be
Tuesday,
clearer.
right? And Tuesday we're going to do a show too, because why not? And then we're going to talk about making another show when everybody else is free to do it. So hopefully we can get that going too. Like we got a lot of things coming, everybody.
So you're gonna have a show where you talk about making another show.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. That way we get some topics done because Thursdays we never topic.
Topic number 1: we need more topics.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now that could be a broad topic there, right? So we can talk about those topics.
That sounds sexy.
On top of other things.
I will talk about all the on top things. What?
Xenia on a top.
It's an old Monty Python bit, the Society for Putting Things on Top of Other Things.
Yes.
Yes.
I will always talk about it eventually. We'll get it done. What would you want to put on top first?
I'm kind of sorry I brought it up, to be honest with you.
I told you
I
Xenia
have
on the top. So
nothing to go. I have nowhere to go with this. I am like,
Something
sorry.
else I missed that will never happen again, man. I just realized it is sad. I really miss Monty Python movies, and I don't think there's going to be no more.
no.
No.
And even if they did make another one, it would be kind of sad.
Well, the closest we'll
All
get
of them are walkers and shit. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
if they do a theatrical release of the play Spam-A-Lot and use the current cast,
Yeah,
that'll be the closest thing
that could work.
we will get.
Look, we could just get some animation that's really questionable, and we could just put them there and say it's them alive, because whatever. And then they could just
Well,
do their
Terry
own
Gilliam always
lines.
needs money, so I mean, he can do the
The Monty
animation.
Python group, the biggest mistake the Monty Python comedy troupe made was not following the Saturday Night Live model and incorporating new blood over the years. So as they got older and aged out, there'd be people there to take their place.
Yeah,
It could have went on for years as a franchise with the new people and the new blood, you know.
Yeah, you could have had like some of the younger comedians. I mean, they're not young now, but they were younger then. People like Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie and Rowan Atkinson. They could have all been Monty Python people.
Yeah,
Pretty much every comic from the 70s on has been influenced by Monty Python. You know,
I like
so
Monty
many of them
Python.
could have been the next generation, but that didn't happen. And now it's going to be a thing of nostalgia, a lost classic. There will be no more Monty Python movies.
But I mean,
Look,
like,
we all
looking
remember
at the
it in
state of
our heart.
SNL today, do we really want that for Monty Python?
You got a good point there. At some point, some
I
things
said
should
good
just.
comedians. I didn't say people like they got now on my.
I'm just saying, diminishing returns would still apply.
I think the biggest problem is this need to go on every week. It's like they're really like going to the well far too often. I mean, if they did like 12 episodes a year, if they did it every month, but gave quality merchandise, it might be better. But having to go, you can tell they're exhausted.
Yeah,
they're just
everybody's
they work
burned
70-hour weeks, and they're just. Right.
They scraped the bottom of the barrel like 20 years ago.
I mean, they're trying, but it's like all quiet on the Western Front. It's like
I left a comment yesterday on a video, and I said, "Remember when SNL used to be funny?"
Yes.
I still like the Weekend Update.
Watch their little Weekend Update things every week, but
I still like the Weekend Update.
That's all I watch now, pretty much.
And do you remember when they tried to turn that into like it was like a precursor of the Daily Show? They tried to do an entire news hour as the Weekend Update, and it failed terribly.
Yeah.
I also remember when Chevy Chase had his own show and it failed.
I watched that. I remember that.
I did too.
I was in high school when that came out.
Well, he swore he had a completely different concept for his show. What happened was the studio at the last minute said, "No, we want you to do a regular."
Yeah, we wanted more Letterman, less Chevy Chase. Yeah.
And he goes, but that's not what the people want. They want it was more like was it Kovacs, Ernie Kovacs, where it's just he would just do a bunch of like he'd have somebody come on and they'd do like a skit, and it was gonna be like almost like an improv show, and that probably wouldn't have worked either. But it would have been better than what we got.
I don't know about that, man. I've seen
it was pretty bad.
A bunch of skits on them, and they make you want to cry and pull your eyes out.
Mercy.
I do miss Arsenio Hall. He was fun.
He was good. But
that's all I got.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, for a while, everyone was getting their own late night talk shows. Alan Thicke had a talk show for a while, in the thick of the night, and it was actually pretty funny. But it was just overkill. There were too many late night talk shows.
Yeah, everybody was trying to do it. Yeah,
I never did like a bunch of different shows. I only watched a few at late night stuff. If I was home, I made it in. Usually, if I come in after wrestling or something, I've been working. It was late. Usually, it was around the end of Johnny Carson. So I usually wound up being more of a watch David Letterman kind of guy than anything because that was what was on when I got home.
Yeah, and late night talk shows, they aren't funny anymore. I mean, it's just like somebody gets up on stage and gives you a political rant for an hour, and then that's it. It's like, I don't care. I mean,
Boring.
no, it doesn't matter what your politics are. That's not the same entertainment as what the Late Show used to be. You know,
No.
just saying.
When I'm watching a show for comedy or a show to be entertained, the last thing I want to hear is about politics.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Right,
the
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Craig
you know,
Ferguson was hysterical. Craig Ferguson really
He
was.
was. He
And
was good.
he was organically funny. He just came out and did his own thing and was just like hysterical. Did you ever hear the story about how he got the Drew Carey show?
no.
He had gone to an audition and they wanted to play like a gang member. And he was so desperate for work, he was going to try it. And
Mhm.
the casting director for Drew Carey, they needed someone to play the English boss. And they go, are you English? And he's like, no, I'm Scottish. Can you do an English accent? Why, certainly, old boy. Of course I can. And he just like did this impromptu English accent, which wasn't even he knew wasn't very good. And he goes, "You're hired." And he's like, okay.
Blimey.
Like all his friends from Britain say, it's the fakest English accent I've ever heard. I'm so relieved because I thought it was fake myself, actually. But he's like, I know, but the Yanks love it. You know who doesn't have a fake accent? Hugh Laurie. I don't know how much he paid his voice coach, but there are still people in the States who don't know he's English.
Yeah, his American accent is perfect. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved House though. I mean, that was just awesome.
No, House
I mean,
is a great show.
Oh,
Yeah.
freak yeah, I love House.
But he really sounds like a Yank. It's like,
He does.
wow.
Completely.
I wish I had $1 for every time House grossed me out.
Well, yeah.
Ooh, that's another one. Andrew Cutterbunk. Andrew Cutterbunk is, as we all know, he's the erstwhile star of The Walking Dead. And he actually, those of you who've seen Love Actually have actually heard him. He's the guy with the boombox who professes his love to Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
And he is very English sounding, but he does a great American accent. Although he never mastered the art of saying the word Carl. It always sounds like he's talking like coral. What is there? Is there a reef off the coast of Georgia that I didn't know about? The coral.
He doesn't sound like somebody with a Southern accent. He sounds like somebody with a regular American accent trying to have a Southern accent. That's what he sounds like. It's weird.
All right, and that'll agree with you. Yes, he's trying too hard to sound like he's from Georgia.
Right.
Although, I know a lot of our fan base didn't watch The Walking Dead, but I have to throw this out there. His name, of course, was Sheriff's Deputy Rick Grimes, right?
Of course.
As we all know, the original, the prime, the alpha episode in Night of the Living Dead, the first survival guide we get for a zombie apocalypse on the TV segment, the guy's name was Dr. Grimes. Tell me that wasn't a coincidence. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, though, it wasn't his son that grew up to be Dr. Grimes.
No, well, I always wish they'd done like some little subtle like nod to it in the show, like my uncle was a pathologist or something like that.
Right, yeah.
But they never did.
Oh,
And then supposedly Greg Nicotero idolized Romero. In fact, I believe he actually worked on one of the movies, not necessarily Night of, but he did work on one of Romero's zombie movies, but opted to never go that route. But,
Sometime we'll have to take a big, long, deep dive look into zombie movies.
I'm in.
That's a subject I know.
What could you possibly have to say about zombie movies, Thrash? Come on.
I've never seen one, but I've always wanted to. Somebody mentioned Zombie 2 today, and I love Zombie 2 for no other reason. A zombie fights a shark. Any movie where a zombie fights a shark is okay in my book.
I like any zombie movie that don't involve Abraham freaking Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
Abraham who? What?
Lincoln.
Yeah, you lost me.
You haven't seen Abraham Lincoln versus the zombies?
You mean Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen that.
no, there's an Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I saw it too. There's also Abraham Lincoln with the zombies.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah,
I must confess. I am.
it's a real thing.
Well, anyways, I'm not into horror movies anyway, so I would not just in general. Also,
Well.
Abraham Lincoln. Like what? Weird.
I actually first learned the name Greg Nicotero from Friday the 13th movies. Especially the one where his mask comes off for the first time and you see Jason's face. The 7th one, yeah, that one.
Wait, I thought you'd see his face in the third one.
You do see his face in the third one. I'm thinking of like the really, yeah, I'm thinking of the 7th one though, where like it splits open because the psychic girl who's not Carrie like rips it off his face. That was a
Well,
really impressive.
Oh, wow.
kid.
So that wasn't a
Sarah,
fever dream.
For a minute.
Okay, sure.
Sarah, can you make me big for a minute?
Yeah, I can make you big. Look, everybody, I'm gonna make Dan big. Okay.
Oh, let me rephrase that. Make the screen big.
I made Dan big. Everybody. See
There
how
you go,
big he
Sarah.
is?
Yeah, that looks terrible.
Yeah, looks pretty bad.
Yeah, so as I stated, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now reading a movie that doesn't involve Abraham Lincoln.
Right?
Because
I
that
can
was
just
the
see-
latest.
I can
Because,
see
okay,
Tracy trying to do a fracture history on that one. Sorry.
and that's the latest nightmare I've had to sit through. Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah, you should be, man. Oh God, it was so much better. It was so much better when he thought vampires, and that tells you how bad this one is.
Yeah, because that wasn't a good movie either. I mean, I saw it, but I'm not saying it was good.
Yeah. Anyways, that's
And vampires, zombies.
right.
There's
See?
actually
Richard
a
Matheson
movie
couldn't
called
tell the difference.
Pride, Prejudice, Zombies.
Oh,
I have heard of that. Yes.
I've heard. I haven't seen it. I heard of it.
That's the next nightmare I'm about to endure in here on the DVR. I'm a glutton.
I like the concept, but apparently it wasn't very good. But
They never are.
they never. I never.
But if they were good, I wouldn't have nothing bad to talk about.
It's movies where like the concept is better than the actual movie. It's like taking an SNL skit and trying to turn it into a movie. It's like it's only funny for a minute, you know.
Hey, no.
Unless it's the
Coneheads
Blues Brothers.
was good from beginning to end. Don't insult Coneheads and the Blues Brothers. Saturday Night Live skits can make good movies.
They usually don't though.
Gruber.
For every Blues Brothers, there's like 5 nights at the Roxbury. Okay.
Oh Jesus! Oh yeah, yeah. I really don't like that.
Yeah, exactly. 2 hours of that is just,
Corey.
Yeah,
why?
it's too much. It's too much. Hey Corey, how you doing? Your ex-wife. My gosh.
Zuper has just discovered the world is chaotic.
That's crazy.
Okay, Wayne's World. That's another good one. Okay, I do like Wayne's World.
I like the Blues Brothers a lot better than Wayne's World.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Blues Brothers is a classic. It's probably the best SNL movie by far.
I like
it's
the
the first
Coneheads better too.
The Coneheads is fun.
Yeah.
But I could be a little prejudiced because Dan Aykroyd's one of my favorites. So I pretty much like everything he does.
I don't like his vodka. It tastes horrible. I've mentioned this before.
I can't complain about it.
Remember we were talking about his parody of Dragnet, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
underrated.
Yeah.
I'll have to revisit that because when I remember watching it as a kid, I was like, "This is nothing like the TV show." And I remember spazzing, and you know me, I'm sort of not flexible.
You
sometimes.
spazzing?
Yeah. I remember going. I remember going. Oh my God, this is nothing like the TV show. Thank God.
I like Jack Webb. See, I also like like Emergency. It was like one of my favorite shows ever. So yeah, Jack Webb could do no wrong for me. He's good. Anyways, sorry, Jack Webb, everybody. Wee.
I feel the same way about William Shatner. He can't go wrong.
Well, no,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
I mean, I respect
I have
your
literally
opinion.
been watching Shatner my whole life. I grew up watching Star Trek, and then
Star
I
Trek
watched
5.
And then I
wasn't his
saw him
fault.
put on all these really cool disguises on the Barbary Coast. And then later on, he was Little Blue Riding Hood riding on the front of police cars and stuff. PJ Hooker.
I did like Kingdom of Spiders, and I could have sworn that was a made-for-TV movie, and somebody said, actually, no, it did have a theatrical.
Yes.
So even though I saw it on TV, it's still considered a not made-for-TV movie, although he did a bunch of those made-for-TV movies in the 70s. A bunch of them.
Now that I know it was a theatrical movie and made for the theater, I think they could have done a better job.
It felt like a made-for-TV movie, didn't it?
But really, check out the movie that blew my mind he was in was The Devil's Reign.
Devil's Reign. That's where the mask comes from. Yeah.
Great in that movie. He was great.
That movie blew my mind when I was a kid, man. It really did.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I only knew him as from Star Trek and from the Twilight Zone. That's all I knew Shatner from when I was a kid.
And everyone said, "Oh, he did so many episodes of the Twilight Zone." He did too.
He did too.
I was like, no,
But they
he
were
did a
two
bunch.
great
No,
episodes.
he did. They're great episodes, but he only did two.
Yeah.
But he did
Yeah.
he did episodes of other Playhouses and other.
Yeah. He did a lot of. I
So
mean, now that
I
I'm
think a lot
older,
of
I know
people-
that.
yeah.
People get really confused.
Yeah, but everybody thinks he did so many, and I'm like, no. In fact, who's tied for the two most main appearances in Twilight Zone? Anybody?
I would say Burgess Meredith.
Burgess Meredith and
The
I
ones who
even
surprised-
asked this quiz question once. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, Bill Mooney. No,
Jack Klugman.
Jack Klugman. You're right.
They
yes.
both had
That was-
four. They both had four.
That, darn it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, I even put that question on my own community page because I can't remember.
Now, there's a bunch who were in multiple episodes because they had supporting roles here, there, and everywhere. Like the guy, I can't remember his name to save my life, but he was in The Old Man in the Cave. He actually did like 5 or 6, but in some of them he is like a cop and has a walk-on or this or that. But he did a bunch of them. But as far as actually main roles,
Well, yeah, if you don't count main roles, then it would be Rod Serling.
well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ah, good one. He wins. Point thug.
Oh, that would make a great trick question.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to steal that from you, Tug, just so you know. Who appeared in the most episodes of The Twilight Zone? Yeah. Rod Serling.
As soon as you hear it, you know it's true.
You hear the fingernail scratch the chalkboard through the screen.
Yeah. It's like, I'll come in again. Can you tell me the score of the Celtics-Knicks basketball game before it starts? I can. 0-0.
0-0, yeah.
Sorry, I was shooting buttons and I was like,
You
that
were
sounds like a
ignoring
good question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can only buttons.
It's like that joke that's going around right now. I can identify any bird. And they're like, really? Okay, what's that? What's that bird? It's like, yep, that's a bird.
Yeah, right? See, I'm really good at that. I know exactly what bird looks like. It's really cool. It's wings. It's bird. There you go.
I was watching a sports show yesterday, and the question was, when was the last time the Indians won?
No. I know the answer. Don't say it.
And I said that involved Custer, right?
Oh, I know it.
Well, anyways, now that
we're gonna get a strike for that one. You know.
Now they win all the time at their casinos, man.
I am so not a part of this.
One time I won 200 pennies. That was so awesome. Yeah, that's $20.
That's $2.
No, man. 200 pennies.
That's $2.
No.
I want my $2.
No. Oh no, it was 2,000. There we go. That's what it was. Whatever. Anyways.
All right.
Anyways,
so $20.
Yeah, $20. I'm like, no, I don't math, okay? Anyways, but I won that. So I got a sandwich. There we go.
And the lesson from this is, don't send Sarah to the store with money.
There you go.
I remember when I was in Italy, it was like they still use the old style lira, and it was like play money. It's like, oh wow, I have 5,000 lira.
Yeah.
That's $4. Yeah.
Yeah, the converting rate is not good for me now. This Clement here that's in the chat, right? That's funny because my last name is Clement. So for a while there, I was like, what? It was funny. Well, no, because usually most people that are Clements are somebody in my family that have popped up, right?
Yeah.
But no, not this person in particular is not. But still, it's just funny.
It suddenly got dark.
Oh yeah, you were
30.
outside in the.
They cut
Like,
off
all
on
of
the
a
hour and a
sudden,
half
a while
mark,
ago it was
actually.
bright, and now it's dark. All of a sudden, it's boom.
So
The sky is getting darker, and
Yeah,
Leon's getting larger.
it wounds my heart with a monotonous languor. No one's gonna get that one. I'll just tell
I
you.
have no idea what you just said, but it was funny.
It's from The Longest Day. It was one of the French code lines. It wounds my heart
Okay, if you
with
tell me.
monotonous
Sure.
Y'all do a lot better than me. I can only remember one line from a movie. It's like, yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Motherfucker. Awesome.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
Oh,
No,
it's
I
think he
partial
said-
Roy Rogers, my
It
son.
was
He
like-
says, he says
It
that
was a
he
fill
says
in
it
the
in one
blank
and two,
question,
doesn't he?
John.
He says it in both films, doesn't he?
He says it in all 4 films, actually.
Really? I never.
Yeah.
I stopped
I
watching.
mean, I don't know if
he.
he says it in the 5th one because I only saw it once. I don't ever want to see it again. So,
What?
He doesn't say much of anything now.
yeah, true. Yeah.
Oh,
From Indian, how you doing? No, I'm not being mean. No, it's actually incredibly sad.
Yeah.
He's like slipping fast. How's it going, Crumminian?
Once
Look.
again, another thing we'll soon not have no more of, Bruce Willis movies.
No, he's
Yeah,
not acting anymore. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He's done.
There won't be no
Yeah.
more Bruce Willis really cool die-hard movies to watch every year.
I know.
Oh,
No
we
more
can still
Sleep
watch
Tower. No, you can't now. They're going to charge you an arm and a leg. Well, anyways.
Well, again, so we have hit the hour and a half mark, folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this like chat is beginning to wind down. I know I am.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Then I shall play us out.
Guys,
Yeah.
I've had so much fun tonight. By the way,
Yeah, me too. Thanks
I-
for
I-
having me on.
really love
Always.
doing
You
this.
want to hear
Great
any
time
time
with
with
you
the show, Tug. You know that, right?
What?
You can come anytime you want to our little show here, Tug.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please.
I probably
Yeah.
will.
One of us. One of us. I
Eagle
mean,
gobble,
Freaks.
gibble gobble.
you're all one of us. One of us. All right. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Happy trail.
Sit right back, it's time to show. With Pons and Dan in a TV flow. Geeks for sure with tales to tell. Every Sunday is pretty swell. Good times here, you'll want some more. Remember days you can't ignore. Kids and family, friends so dear. Join us now, the crew is here. On the artifact, save the world with Sarah at their side. Oh girl, Sunday's fun with joy and cheer. Flip side, flip, flip, so revere. Groovy shows from days gone by. Epic moments never die. Internet was such a blast. Fun with friends, let's make it last. Time to laugh and time to chat. Geek out hard and that's a fact. Sarah here to add the spice. Memories that feel so nice. Love the artifact, save the world with Sarah at their side. Oh girl, Sunday's fun with joy and cheer. Flip side, flip, flip, so revere. friends, let's make it last. Time to laugh and time to chat. Geek out hard and that's a fact. Sarah here to add the spice. Memories that feel so nice.